Attend the world's best business workshop led by America's #1 business coach for free by subscribing on iTunes and leaving us an objective review. Claim your tickets by emailing us proof that you did it and your contact information to info@thrivetimeshow.com.
All right, Thrive Nation, welcome back to the Thrive Time Show on your radio in podcast download. Now, this next subject is a subject I'm very passionate about, and I know Dr. Z shares my passion for this because you are a very pragmatic person. But it's learning from best practice, proven systems, as opposed to learning from guesswork.
I don't know. I think we should reinvent the wheel at every turn.
And I'm going to get Pastor Jessi's take on this, but I'm just going to kind of warm up the conversation. So here we go. You studied mathematics and optometry in school at NSU in Oklahoma. Is this correct?
That is correct.
And then you went from optometry, which makes sense to go. The next business after you've run a successful optometry clinic, you have two of them. Arguably the largest or most successful in the region. It makes sense to immediately then go into the auto auction industry because your vast knowledge of cars and optometry that you could see they parallel because you are an automotive mechanic expert, are you not?
And that is incorrect.
So knowing nothing about cars, you moved into the automotive auction industry. How did you do this?
Very good question. I won't bore you with all the details, but basically I made a decision in my life. I'm an entrepreneur trapped inside an optometrist's body, as we've said before online. And instead of going around the country, traveling and opening up other optical stores, which I could have done, I said to myself, I would want to grow my empire, if you will. My empire. And so I wanted to do other businesses within Tulsa. And they could also leverage the relationships I had. Fortunately, the optometry clinic was my name, and so after spending so much money in advertising, people got to know me, and They felt like they know me, but they didn't know me.
You were a homie that people felt like they knew.
So it kind of opened some doors, and so I did the sleep center. I did the DME companies, the durable medical equipment, did the auto auctions, and so it allowed me then to use those relationships and that goodwill, if you had, that I already had in Tulsa to grow the other businesses.
But the way you did it, which is powerful, and this is where I want Pastor Jessi to take over, because you reinvented the wheel at every single. You never looked at any. You never spied on what worked. You never studied best practices. You put your head in the sand and you said, "I'm the man," and you invented everything from scratch.
Yeah, in fact, I reinvented how to make concrete because I thought, those guys out there, those concrete contractors.
No, but you studied what worked. You studied the goats.
Yeah, I tell you, that's what you do. You study the goats. You find the parade, you get in front of it. It's not rocket science, folks. It's not rocket science.
You see a mountain goat at the top of the mountain. How did the greatest of all time get to the top of the mountain? So now we introduce Pastor Jessi, and you are a pastor of a church with over 1,000 people, and you guys are growing by leaps and bounds. And there's got to be somebody listening who they feel like their church is stuck. What are some of the best practices that you now are implementing as a pastor of a large church that you wish you would have known back in the day?
Oh my goodness, we did every single thing wrong at the beginning. So I think every single day, I'm just glad that we actually know what we're doing that day. But I think one of the things lately that I have that I wish that I would have known up front is just the branding part of it and how whether it's a font or a logo or the way that you're designing the building or whatever. I think a lot of churches, they just know where they went to church and they just see what they've done. From the get-go, we have always loved every church we would pass on a road trip.
Yep.
My husband would say, I wonder what they're doing inside of that church. And I would be like, what do you mean? He's like, I really need to know what they're doing inside of that church. It didn't matter if it was Tuesday at 2 p.m. He would make us stop. We would harass the secretary. We would make her let us into all of their rooms and bathrooms, and we would tour. And so we had all of these ideas, but as we brought them back, we just kind of like threw them in a lot of times. And so it's kind of a meshing of branding because we liked things from different places, but it didn't have any consistency. And so I think the thing that I wish that I would have known is like pick something and ride that horse all the way to the finish line and make it look like you and your spot.
I also, having worked with a lot of churches, I see that very few churches or small businesses have checklists for things. And it seems like that every sermon, every service, every day at the office, people are looking for basic things. They're going, where are the batteries? Did we turn on the Facebook? Is Facebook on? Did we turn on the camera? Where's the camera? And it seems like there's this last minute panic when you don't have checklists to try to make sure that everybody who did their best didn't forget anything.
Absolutely.
How important are checklists to running your church as you've grown River City Church?
Well, it's impossible to function without them because we have volunteers. And so a lot of people just want to be like, it's a volunteer culture, so we're just going to let the volunteers do whatever they want. So that means they can just come in and run any ministry any way that they want. And we're just kind of going to let it flow because they're good people and they love Jesus. And they're
I like to speak in Greek when leading the children. I like to speak in Greek. I don't prefer English is not very good.
Absolutely. Children understand Greek wonderfully. So, but if you let them, they'll just come in and bring their own thing every single time. So having that checklist, like just the other day, some of our greeters were new and they were saying, I just don't understand why I have to wear the lanyard. It's on the checklist of what greeters do, but I'm just not sure why I need to wear the lanyard and why it's on the checklist. And they were trying to bring their culture that they'd brought in with them to our place. And our leader was just like, listen, thank you so much for volunteering your time. But the reason you have that lanyard is because it's on the checklist. The reason it's on the checklist is because 80% of people want to know who can answer their question. And your lanyard says, have questions, ask me.
Boom.
So you need your lanyard and it's on the checklist. So it just helps everybody understand where you're going. It helps everything flow. And with volunteers just coming in and out, not there 40 hours a week, it helps them feel like they are a part the minute they walk in.
You know, Z, when my wife started working with you when she was just 18, 19 years old, she's working there. It was crazy, but she was able to learn how to do her job. Kylie taught her how to do her. Kylie still manages one of your optometry clinics, but Kylie taught my wife how to do her job within like a week. It was crazy. She didn't have to be there and learn through osmosis over a period of like a decade, where you see a lot of optometry clinics where dysfunction is the normal, and you hear these people. I mean, I've literally met with doctors and dentists that will say, well, you know, to be a good front desk dude, you've got to work with me for 5 years. You can't just teach her. But my wife learned in like a week.
Yeah. Well, she's really smart, which
That's
always baffled us. There was always part of that was very baffling. Because she had this dude that'd come pick her up in this obnoxiously loud car.
I have no, I cannot defend myself.
And he would come in and he'd be like just kind of be skulking. And it looked like he wanted to pick a fight with anybody that'd get in his way.
Now, those of you who don't know Kylie, she's a blonde-haired lady. She's a sharp-dressed lady, but she has that look sometimes that she gets the look of the Cobra, where you realize that you're messing with Z's stuff.
Yeah.
And I remember I'd have the subwoofer on and the Mazda MPV.
You'd shake the windows.
And she would come out and knock on the window like, and she would look at me with the look of death, and I'm going, I'm so sorry.
I'm so sorry.
My soul would apologize verbally.
Yeah.
I'm so sorry. But I think it's amazing how you've built systems that teach people coming to your companies and your systems from all different walks of life. And regardless of the lack of mental capacity like I demonstrated back in the day, the systems work when you have great systems that you can scale.
Yeah, they do. And it's a way to train people quickly and efficiently. And just like Pastor was saying, that, you know, especially when you have volunteers, a volunteer mindset, and when they come in, you know, it's a way you can train them. You know, you're having consistency in what each one of them is doing in all the different categories. Now, you may have the guy still come in and want to teach the kids in Greek. Is that your move?
I feel like I've seriously worked with so many churches where I've seen people that literally will come up with their own curriculums. And I haven't seen the Greek example, but I've seen people bring in just the most bizarre training modalities and systems that the kids don't understand, but they're passionate about these systems. We come back, we're going to talk about how to make your church fun.
You are now entering the dojo of Mojo and the Thrive Time Show.
Can I kick it? Yes, you can. 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 This is Clay Clark on the mic again. Myopic focus, tunnel vision. I'm focused on the mission to teach you the skills and give you the plans. Broadcasting from my lands, to the left, to the Portlands. I'm here to tell you, you can do it, yes you can. And now, my friend, you got two fans. Hit me the Z, comma, ands. I'll be the C, yes, ands. Now let's kick it like Batman, bam, and get a little nuts like pecans. Z, I have to ask you,
First of all, are pecans your favorite nuts?
No, I don't really enjoy nuts at all.
You don't?
No, I don't at all. I don't think I like them at all.
Are you?
I think as you brought this up, this was a sore subject for me. I think I really don't like them at all.
Do you have an allergy response to them or something? Or
I just don't like them.
were you?
I like meat, though.
Any kind of nuts at all?
No, I mean, I'll eat them. I'm a guy with no class, really, no standard. So I'm the kind of guy that could not, if I was single, like before I was married, I would literally eat the same meal every single day. There was no variety. I would eat the same meal.
And what was that?
Well, you had the cottage cheese, because I had a lot of protein. I worked it all the time. And you get a little bit of that and just a little bit of pineapple. So there's just a lot of protein. And then after I would do that, I'd just have chicken breasts. And I'd cook them all in advance. And I would just eat nothing but that every single day. Then my wife says, we get married, she says, do you want a bagel with that? And I'm like, a bagel with what? She goes, just a bagel with like your egg. And I'm going, I don't know. And so all of a sudden, but I'm the kind of guy, literally, if I was single, I would eat the same meal every single day because I just don't care. And so, but I will tell you, if given choice, I would definitely not eat pecans. I would not eat any kind of cashews. I would just I would just eat grilled chicken probably every day.
Wow, I did not realize that.
Variety
number one.
in food stressful.
Number two,
you would have to eat with me. You know it's stressful. I look at menus, I freak out every time.
You just say whatever he ordered. I mean that's your move. Whatever I ordered.
It seriously causes me a panic attack.
Yeah, I can tell. I can tell that. But I mean, a man who doesn't like a cashew every now and then, I have pause for.
The Cheesecake Factory is like the number one. I drive by that right now on the way to your optometry clinic, and anxiety, I can just feel it pulsing. The big menu.
Oh my gosh,
it's too big.
It's overwhelming for anybody. Too big. It's crazy.
Now let me tell you what. We were talking today about how to create an experience that's going to differentiate you, that's going to make your organization different, specifically under the context of a church. Because we have Pastor Brian on the show. He's a great guy, great client. He's based out there in Owensboro, Kentucky. We're so honored to have him here. He's traveled here specifically to be on the show, and I'm just honored to have him here, and this is going to be a lot of fun here. So I'm going to ask you this. If I'm trying to create a church that brings in people while trying to find what makes me different, how do you do that? Because I don't want to turn anybody away. I don't have to say, I'm a church primarily for middle-aged people, and then someone who walks in who's a little bit older. You say, well, we're not for you. No, you want to be inclusive for everybody. How do you do that?
Well, you do have to find a way. In a church, we're not demographic matters on this. Let me just say that. What you're building and what size population matters. Okay. So it really is different if you're talking to a church in a country town. Let's say a town of 5,000 or a town of 2 million. All right, they have different games they have to play, so to speak. But you want to create something that makes you stand out, and still you have to tip your hat to let everybody know that they're welcome, if that makes sense. But here's the main thing about churches or anything. I think you have to, this kind of dates me, but you have to Jerry Maguire it, right?
Woo.
You have to have them from hello. And so the stats show that people know if they're going to come back or not. Like my wife, Jessi, the first time she saw me, she was madly in love with me. I had her from hello. Isn't that right? Not at all, because I was a drug addict in her father's drug rehab. She wouldn't talk to me
and
for 2 years.
And her father was a pastor, so this sort of makes sense.
Her father was a pastor. But so here's the deal. People pull on our properties. They say statistically they know if they're coming back, not within 30 minutes, within minutes. It's almost like that blink factor. You know what I mean? Is it 7 minutes? My wife was telling me it's 7 minutes. They walk up. It's almost like if you know that feeling if you think somebody is not sincere or you think they may be conning you, almost like it's an instant gut.
I call it swampy.
Somebody swampy.
Yeah, it's like more than campy. It's swampy.
Swampy. So I think people get the same vibe when they show up on the church. And so you have to create a culture that wows them. You have to create an atmosphere of excellence. And I believe that joy is a massive part of that. It's got to be fun. And I think if it's like that, people want to come back. So you got to create that through your identity.
So let me just give the listeners some very actionable thoughts here. Seth Godin, the best-selling author of the Purple Cow book and the guy who started Yo-Yo Dine, which he sold to Yahoo for $30 million, says the boring is always the most risky strategy. Smart business people realize this, and they work to minimize but not to eliminate the risk from the process. You're either remarkable or invisible, make a choice. If you're remarkable, it's like that you have to, it's likely that some people won't like you. He says, if you're remarkable, it's likely that some people won't like you. That's part of the definition of being remarkable. Nobody gets unanimous praise ever. The best the timid can hope for is to be unnoticed. Criticism comes to those who stand out. He has a lot of things he's saying here. He says, marketing is a contest for people's attention. Help us make this actionable. What do we need to do to activate this?
Well, I mean, just to kind of dovetail on him a little bit, and that's something I think people have a problem with, is that as they become remarkable, they get some rejection. And then once they get rejection, then they can say, I got to dummy this thing down. I got to dummy this thing down because I don't want anybody to reject me. Listen,
I don't want a single person to reject me.
Just fast track it. There's no product, there's no service, there's no business out there for everybody, and that's going to take care of everybody. There's no church out there that is for everybody. There's not. They're different flavors. I mean, Baskin Robbins has 31 flavors?
I don't know how many they have, but I tell you this, it's an addictive cycle. If I go through that drive-through,
how stressed would you be if you had to go in there and pick out a flavor? Oh my gosh!
I would just go. Let's start from the left and work over.
Just work our way.
I don't know what it is about choosing things like that, but it really does. Honestly, it's like, I don't know what's happening, but I go there. We were traveling to Owensboro. Our flights got delayed, so we somehow got marooned in Dallas, and then we were flying to Louisville. And Vanessa's explained to me the flow chart of how it works. She's like, well, we could take this flight, and if we do that, then this happens here, and this happens here. And it's all of a sudden, it's like mental Tetris, like word problems as a kid. And
I just zone out.
I don't know.
Fetal position, thumb in your mouth, and all that. I get it.
Yes.
Well, and that's one of the things that a good business coach does for a business is if you come in there and you say, listen, I don't know how to be remarkable. I don't know the moves. I don't know how to create my purple cow. I don't know how to create the buzz. I don't know how to do that. Well, there's people out there that do. We can help you with that.
We can help you with that, and I'm going to give you some examples to get the wheels a turning here. Then we'll get Charles Kolaw's take on this with Kolaw Fitness. The Dental Depot. There's a dentist. He says, you know what I got to do to differentiate my dentistry? I got to come up with a purple cow. I've been listening to the Thrive Time show. I get it. So I'm going to put a train in front of it. Choo-choo. And his partner says, why a train? He says, why not?
Because we're the Dental Depot.
I've got a spare train. Let's put that up there.
Yeah.
Harley, their motorcycle sales were decreasing. They went into bankruptcy twice. They bring back in one of the original family members from the Harley family, and he says, people like them loud. So let's make them loud.
Well, there you go.
So, Whole Foods. You got to hire an earthy millennial named Skylar. He's going to be dating someone who wears yoga pants. All the food's organic. They're going to be writing with chalk on the signs. He's going to have a spiritual connection to the word kale.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
That's what Whole Foods is.
That's what Whole Foods is.
So, Charles, what makes Kolaw Fitness different? I mean, is it your sexiness? What makes it different?
Well, for Kolaw Fitness, one thing is our value proposition is very good. We got the benefits you get for the $5 a month price.
I don't even understand what value proposition is. What am I getting for the $5? Break it down for me.
Basically, you got 24-hour fitness, 24-hour tanning, 24-hour massage, free trainer instruction, free nutrition instruction. You can bring a friend for free. Your friend can work out, tan, massage anytime they have to go with you. But all that's included for as low as $5 a month.
$5 a month?
It is the best value in fitness on the planet.
What makes Dr. Robert Zellner and Associates unique? What makes you different there? And Pastor Brian, I'm going to ask you as well. Pastor, not non-pastor Dr. Zellner. Sir, what makes Dr. Robert Zellner and Associates unique?
Well, two things. Predominantly, I'm always value-driven. And so we always have inexpensive frames that are high quality and warranted. And
gouge people on prices.
And also, when you walk into our stores, there's a wow factor. I built the two stores that when you walk in, you go, wow. This isn't my dad's optometrist back in Punkville.
Pastor Brian, what makes River City Church unique? And you can't just say your physical aesthetic beauty. You can't just rely on that crutch.
I don't know about that.
I think it's we knew who we were early on. Maybe we didn't even know how to say who we were, but we started like this. Like we knew we were here to reach people that weren't already churched.
Oh, come on now.
So the idea was we're going to build a church that reaches those who are far from Christ. And so we took that, we embodied it. We went down one of the first buildings we got. There was a bar in town. The owner got popped for dealing X and Coke out of the bar, which is hard on your business. Don't do that if you own a business. And he got arrested. And I love the idea of taking that tavern and making it a temple. Because I was after that kind of crowd. So early on, we had like this nightclub atmosphere in the church. You're worshiping Jesus, you're preaching Bible messages, but it's all designed to reach the lost. Now, it was like that. I had that music going all the time. But now,
when we go, I'll tell you what, if you want to catch the rest of this interview, because for sake of time, go to thrivetimeshow.com and you can hear the remainder of this interview on the podcast download. And without any further ado, 3, 2, 1, boom.